Welcome to the discussion of CAT Mock 16. I mean, you've gone through 15 of them so far. So let's go ahead and dive into the next one right now. So here is the first passage for you on the screen. And this passage is essentially based on what? Biology. And because it is based on biology, you of course need to sort of be familiar with some of the technical terms, but then fortunately this is one passage which did not have very many such terms. And if I actually had to look at it, it had these instances of anthropology where human beings are being compared to some other animals as well. So let's dive into this. The very first paragraph sets the theme where it talks about the response of a crying baby of quite a few different species and the reactions of the other species to it. Thereafter, the second paragraph specifically mentions a new study where we looked at the reactions of crocodiles to the cries of human babies. And one hypothesis or postulate that followed. Thereafter, the third paragraph goes ahead and talks about that study even further, or the outcomes of the study even further. The fourth paragraph tells you that different cries were essentially analyzed, and this takes you, and the subsequent ones take you into the setup of that particular study. So there were speakers, and then the crocodiles responded. Some of them came and watched, some of them tried to bite, and then the last paragraph sort of gives us that conclusion. So let's get into the questions. So the very first question focuses on the primary purpose of the study. So if you look at it holistically, it talks about the reactions of crocodiles to cries of a few different species, humans, chimps, bonobos, particularly human cries, but the cries of a human child. So let us check. A, study the aggressive nature of crocodiles to the cries of primate infants. Were all of them aggressive? In fact, one very important part of the message here is that they could have done it out of that maternal instinct as well. Remember last paragraph where it is clearly stated that it cannot be entirely ruled out that some individuals responded in a parental care context. So that helps us eliminate option A. Then let's have a look at B. Point out the difference between male and female crocodiles, and that's just one paragraph. In fact, not even that full paragraph, only a part of a paragraph. So as far as primary purpose goes, this will be way too narrow. C, show that crocodiles, whether male or female, have excellent hearing faculties. Come on. Are we talking about the fact that crocodiles can hear very well, or are we talking about their response to the cries of a human child? So this is completely irrelevant to the passage. And then D, study the response of crocodiles to the cries of primate infants. Now this is better. Better compared to A, because A said that he study the aggressive nature, but the study actually proved they're not always aggressive. So all that we had was response, aggressive or non-aggressive, and that's where D scores over A and should be our answer. So for question number 1, the answer should be D. Here is the next one. According to the passage, Nile crocodiles. Okay, so let us see. They may have heard the cries of primate infants before the study. This is definitely a possibility that the paragraph talks about. So that's true. They have excellent hearing and olfactory senses. Hearing, maybe. At least they do hear the cries of the infants well. But the paragraph does not really talk about the olfactory sense, and therefore we'd say that when it comes to B, on the basis of the information supplied, we'd say it is can't say or cannot be determined. C, Nile crocodiles are always predatory when they hear the sound of infants. Always, not always, so this is false. D, they respond exactly the same way to the cries of infants. Nile crocodiles respond exactly the same way. Same compared to what? So even this answer choice is not very well designed, where the other term of comparison is not present, and therefore it will remain indeterminate. We'd never be able to call it true or false. So out of the 4, A happens to be true, and therefore we should safely mark A as our answer to question number 2. So A it is. Let's dive into 3. All of the following statements are not true except, okay, so not and except get cancelled out. We are looking for something that is true according to the passage. So let's start with A. All male crocodiles displayed predatory behavior. Not all, and therefore this is false, should not be our answer. Male crocodiles do not look after their young. Can't say. We don't have enough in the passage to arrive at this particular conclusion. Let's have a look at C. The cries of baby crocodiles and those of primate infants have some similarities. Yeah, that's true. That is something that is mentioned in the passage. So C is definitely true. D. Many crocodiles did not respond quickly on hearing the cries of primate infants. We don't know whether they did or they did not. So all we know is that there were some who did. They were crocodiles who responded or reacted. The passage talks about the different reactions. Some went there and starved, some tried to bite or displayed predatory behavior, but whether there were many who did not respond at all is something that cannot be determined, and therefore if I compare, we are looking for something that is true, so our answer has to be option C. Let's have a look at the next one now. What is the most likely conclusion of the second paragraph? So let's head back to the second paragraph. That's a lot of clicks away, but we'd be able to reach there. Here it is. So this is your second paragraph. Right? So let us go back and check what can get supported. So A, the sound of infants crying can only be comprehended by a few other species. I'm sure this only definitely makes it fishy, and therefore it is in fact not something that you can conclude. So can't say. Definitely not on the basis of the second paragraph. B, the infants of all species know how to make distress calls. True. The second half of the second paragraph has that information. C, crocodiles like other predators are more attuned to the distant. They are attuned, but do we know that they are more attuned to primate infants as compared to other predators? And all of this on the basis of the second paragraph where the other predators are not even mentioned. So obviously we'd go ahead and label it as can't say. D, male and female crocodiles respond in different ways to the sounds of crying infants. The paragraph does talk about male and female. Yes, here you go. But let's see. So it says some female crocs. So we see, we are not talking about all, but some female crocs may also respond because the cries somehow appeal to their maternal instinct. So number one, do all females do that? Number two, are we sure that they are doing it because of the maternal instinct? Mind you, the word that they used was may. So to say definitively that they respond in different ways, you know, all males and all females is something that can safely be labeled can't say. So considering that B is true on the basis of the second paragraph and the others are not true, I think we can very safely choose B as our answer to question number